The sounds of New England.
Welcome to New England by the Dolphin's Eye.
That's not just one insane man with grizzled hands. That is a New Englander.
This is a picture of New England through the eyes of a dolphin. And I am Chester Pringle, here with my two co-hosts,
Chet Beechworth.
I'm Peyton Walters, and I'm very excited to see if this man hammers this board into his leg.
Now, Peyton, you told us before this is footage from your grandfather's cottage.
Yes,
and that is your grandfather.
Like, it's going out of style.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, hearing his voice just brings me back.
To when you were a child.
When I was a child and he would give me pieces of peanut brittle.
To hammer into your leg.
Hammered right into my leg. The brittle was not as brittle as my bones.
He's just made a sign that says, no solicitors, and he's going to put it in front of his yard, because as a traditional New Englander, he does have a gun.
I'll say one thing about my grandfather. He appended that sign. He added a descriptor in front of the word solicitors. But I can't say what it is in this modern age in which we live.
When this was filmed, they asked him to kindly make another sign, because the one he had in front of his home was a bit too much.
Way too much.
This is why he hammers so sarcastically.
Very touchy. New England... The Dolphin's Eye.
By the Dolphin's Eye.
It was painted by a dolphin.
Now, we were chosen as three of the top journalists in New England in our current year, 1993.
Yes.
And we were chosen to represent the different states. We have an expert on the history of Maine, the history of Vermont.
That's me, Chet.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that's me, Peyton Walters.
And the history of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. That's me, I guess.
What about New Hampshire?
And is New Hampshire?
New Hampshire's not in this.
Okay. Thank you. That's our studio
The
engineer.
Dolphin's Eye does not recognize New Hampshire as part of New England.
That's correct.
Interesting tidbit there. We want to thank the Dolphin's Eye for sponsoring this, and we want to be clear, the Dolphin's Eye is a production company, not a sexual thing.
Well,
we've been told to make that very clear.
Not just a sexual thing.
Well, yes, we've talked about that, and unfortunately, the kids today, these 93 kids,
Yep.
are doing the Dolphin's Eye. It's
Yeah, with
very
their
inappropriate.
Nirvanas and their Pearl Jams.
And they also have a sexual thing called raking clams.
We've been asked not to mention the Dolphin's Eye sexual act, but we assured them that we'd at least put in a disclaimer that we are not affiliated.
And we want to thank the Dolphin's Eye for sponsoring this and allowing us to use the peak of technology in 1993 here in the future of 93 with all of the amazing film equipment that we used to capture this footage.
Absolutely.
I'll say my favorite thing about living in 1993 is the varied media landscape that companies are prohibited from purchasing X number of television broadcast stations or radio stations, and we just get a lot of different types of TV and radio.
Absolutely. Creativity at its peak. Now, we're here in Camden, Maine.
Ooh.
This is, of course, the famous boat, the Mary Day. A little-known fact about the Mary Day, the ship itself actually drifted into Camden's dock with all people on board dead, and they don't know why. It was in 1967. They're unsure of what that was. It's sort of a maritime ghost story, if you will, the Mary Day.
This doesn't sound like a very merry day to me.
3 children they found. 3.
Where did the boat originate from? I'm a little spotty on the history of Camden, Maine.
Yeah, well, Camden is, of course, in Maine,
Yes.
and it's in generally in the southern area there of southern Maine.
Well, I know it landed there, but where did it come from?
No one knows to this
Oh.
day. There have been some maritime scholars that have looked at the history of the Mary Day. Some say it came from a prison colony in Australia.
Wow.
But that doesn't explain the children, does it?
It really doesn't.
There were no children left on the prison island of Australia,
Interesting.
but they could have been made there.
That's true.
They could have been made by
Yes.
the prisoners.
I know you get mad at me for bringing this up, but
Here we go again.
could it be a time travel thing?
No one knows. Truly.
Could have slipped through a rift.
A Bermuda Triangle. Of course, we have off the coast of New England, the New England Triangle.
So you
That one's
Yep.
pink.
Sorry, punch Puffin white. I'll just punch Pringle here.
The old New England tradition, when you see a puffin, punch your friend right in the arm.
That's right.
And if you see a kangaroo, you're going to get married. Not a lot of kangaroos in New England.
Now give us
Should've picked another animal.
Not a lot of marriages.
now can I get some facts about the noble puffin?
I'm not an aviary expert, but I do believe. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name.
Yeah, me
again.
too. I was going to ask you
forgot.
directly.
Peyton Walters.
Peyton
Walters,
Walters,
yes,
yes.
backwards football player.
There you go.
Oh, yes. That's also a sexual position, the backwards football
Yes,
player.
Hey.
Oh, now puffins famously hate penguins.
It's true.
It's a rivalry that's gone on since the Beagle landed in the Galapagos, and they I'm talking, of course, of
Charles Darwin.
the grandfather of evolution, Charles Darwin. He wrote in his notes that the puffin hates the penguin.
I thought the puffin was kind of the next step in evolution for the penguin. Is that not accurate?
Penguins see them as uppity.
Oh.
Penguins see the puffin
Well,
as
and
the-
you can,
see
you can
that.
see in the body language of
Oh,
these
absolutely.
puffins.
I can see it.
They're braggarts. Look at us. We can actually fly. Our wings work. They're not just for decoration.
I was once eating a hot dog in front of a puffin, and he looked at me and turned his head and put his nose up. And I felt shame.
And that's another New England tradition, is eating hot dogs and looking at puffins, because everybody knows there's an old saying, and it's on some bumper stickers, where there's puffins, there's foot-long hot dogs.
That's correct. That was the state motto of Connecticut for 50 years.
50 years!
50 years.
And then they changed the tax codes,
That's correct.
and then that became a whole thing.
Yes, that's right.
Of course, now we're seeing a beautiful reflection of a lighthouse in a window. Now, what people don't know is that window leads to a bedroom that is famous in New England. It is a main bedroom. Now we're seeing the lamp, of course. This is where Goody Lovechild gave birth to a goat. And that is from colonial times.
Yes.
Well, yes,
Yes.
that's right.
The lesser known, Maine witch trials.
Oh, the Maine witch trials, they sort of trickled down.
Yes.
They started in Maine and sort of trickled down, and a lot of people say it's because they got bored of killing Native Americans. And they sort of looked around and went, what could we do?
And that is the goat that became the mayor.
Yeah, of course, mayor of Bangor, Maine.
That's right.
The center of Maine.
Yes.
The capital being Augusta.
Yes.
Horn Goatsley was his name.
Horn Goatsley, a fine mayor. A fine mayor.
A fair mayor.
A fine and fair mayor. Tough, but fair.
Tough but fair.
His hoof never struck another in anger, only in love. Of course, Maine puddles, known across the world. Maine puddles.
Famous Maine puddles.
The puddles of Maine.
I remember as a child going puddle gazing.
Puddle gazing.
Puddle
yes.
gazing.
Oh,
What a
delightful.
summer. What
does some of
summer.
you dip your toes in and splash around in the Maine puddles?
Oh, the puddles of
Of course,
Maine.
puddle tours still going on to this day in 1993 in Maine
Yes.
on lovely trolleys.
I think the worm activists are fighting back against the puddle industry.
There's been some protest around the puddles, people saying that all of the tourism to the puddles, to see them, are
Yes.
slowly ruining the puddles.
Now, maybe I shouldn't reveal this here, but I did put my life savings into stocks for the puddles.
Oh dear.
And
Puddle stocks.
Puddle stocks.
Oh
which
dear.
I was assured it's a solid stock that will never decrease. But sure enough, a few days after every rainfall, we have a slight crisis in the financial situation over at the Pringle household.
It's tough. There's New England is known for quite a few industries, but those industries are dependent so much on the weather. Fishing, like you see this man here.
Lobster-ing.
Absolutely, leaving bodies in the water.
Now, I have to go to court this week about this whole puddle tax situation.
Yes. You've been dodging.
Yes. Now, just to practice, would you guys say that the ocean is a large puddle?
Listen, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I couldn't say it one way or the other, but I will say I'm very interested to find out what the judge says.
Thank you very much. I've been sleeping in my car.
As you can see here, the beautiful seagull houses that are left on the sides of docks everywhere in Maine.
I believe those are lobster traps.
I think you'll find they're seagull houses.
Look,
Well, how do you explain all the lobsters inside?
They're invaders.
Things can be multiple things to multiple creatures. All right?
That's true.
For
That is
example,
true.
a car can be a car and a home.
For
I
another
believe
example
that's
is people don't wash windows in Maine. And
That's,
all the windows are filthy.
that's right.
Filthy windows, they say. They say a clear sight to the sea is bad luck.
Well, it's a rhyme. It's a clear sight to the sea. It's bad luck for me.
Ah, yes. Clear sight to you. And it's anti-Semitic, is really what it is. A moment ago, we saw a windmill or a weather vane. Weather vane, of course, made by, and I'm proud to say this, my uncle, who is mentally retarded, and that's the best he could do for a boat.
I think he did a damn fine job.
Now you can see, of course, the famous Maine tradition of fishermen gathering to do a bit of a key party situation. They hop boat to boat and please each other.
Wow.
And themselves.
Just
yes.
a bowl full of fish, and if you caught that fish, well, you catch this.
You catch these hands, is what they say.
Oh, wow.
And fingers. Mostly fingers.
I was going to say.
And they've finished up now, the parting ways there. You see the dominant on the larger boat and the sub in the smaller drifting away.
I see.
Yes.
Now, you grew up in Maine? Is that correct, Chet?
I'm familiar with it, yes, absolutely. I did grow up there.
And now, Peyton,
Yes,
you grew up in Vermont?
that's correct. Yes.
And I grew up in all the other states we're going to be talking
Yes.
about.
Bouncing.
I was in a military family. We moved around a lot. Stationed in Rhode Island, then 5 miles north in Boston.
Must have been hard for you to make friends.
It was easy because all the states are so close together. We were essentially
yes.
moving within a half an hour of our old house.
Now,
just about every time.
Sorry to interrupt your story there, but what we're seeing there is a man named Glenn Payne, and he has now taken fish and lobsters and clams, basically anything from the sea, and now what they're doing is bundling it up, and those little net bags
Yes.
will be sent to Red Lobster, where
That's
they
right.
will be given out to the people.
One thing I appreciate is that they're making sure the fish are deceased by pulverizing them.
It's the only
the boat,
humane
yes.
thing to do, Peyton.
Yes.
It's the only...
The fish are suffocating, and you don't want that. You don't
No.
want a slow suffocation.
No,
you want
and
to pound them onto the.
if you don't hit their heads immediately, then they start trying to bargain with you. And you
Yes.
can't have that. They
Oh.
will talk their way out of the net. Absolutely.
That's slippery, like a fish.
Exactly.
It's happened to me several times myself.
Coming back with an empty boat is
Yes.
the most emasculating thing that can happen to a Maine fisherman. Coming back with an empty boat because the fish tricked you.
Yes.
Oh, it is a shame, and it is part of Maine's history. And in fact, it's part of their state flag is the shamed fisherman.
It's kind of a rite of passage, though, for Maine fishermen.
Absolutely.
you know.
And of course, in Latin, dirigo meaning shame.
Yes. Now, we'd like to give a special thank you to the Dolphin's Eye production company for allowing us to film all our own footage to make this VHS tape.
Yes.
Now, we've pooled together our life savings in hopes that
Greg's
this tape...
ass that we're seeing there. He has a wonderful ass in his waders.
Oh,
and
is that
he,
Greg?
He was.
Greg
Oh, that
Payne,
is Greg.
yes.
Yeah, and he demanded
Yes.
that we get a shot of his behind.
Yes. And now that we've put our life savings into this VHS tape, where we've shot the footage lovingly, and now we will entertain the viewers, I'm really hoping this thing sells.
I'm hoping I'm hoping many people have purchased this VHS. I mean, I sat and I recorded the beautiful violin that you're hearing right now.
That's right.
It was hard. I just learned. There you're seeing a very small lobster, of course, being cucked by the other lobsters. Very small, shameful. They're
yes.
throwing him back into the ocean.
Yes.
Because they know. They know that one is too small to catch.
That's right.
And those lobsters famously always say it's not about the size, it's what you do with it.
Yes. Now, Peyton, you shot this footage, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
How was it out in the boat that day?
It was wet. You think, oh, I'm on the boat, I'm in the boat, I'm not going to get wet. But there's sea spray.
Now, what you're seeing there is actually eggs. That is true. That is a lobster's eggs being carried underneath them.
I thought that lobster had gonorrhea.
I was dared to lick that
Eggs.
lobster.
Oh, it's eggs. Okay.
And I licked that lobster, and I went on a
And
trip.
Did you get gonorrhea?
Well,
No.
it was actually, sadly, the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh.
He gave gonorrhea,
I gave
to, the
gonorrhea
lobster.
to the lobster.
I see.
It's very serious.
Now,
Yes.
what do you call this song? Because you wrote this song, is that correct?
Yes, this is called Panic in D minor.
Oh.
I had diarrhea when I was doing it, and I just wanted to get it done.
I
really.
can tell. I remember the version you showed me was much slower.
Oh, very slow.
A
yes.
very Raiders of the Lost Ark situation.
Yes. Thank you.
Wow.
Now these men. Oh, Peyton. Now you're getting seasick. As we can see, you don't know what to shoot.
I was tripping because of the psychedelic effects of the lobster eggs.
Gonorrhea.
yes.
That's
And
right.
the gonorrhea was leaving my body.
Now the seagull houses are being pushed into the ocean.
Yes.
What does this mean?
Well, this is
Drowning the seagulls.
This is part of the ongoing that has ever lasted since the beginning of man and seagull, the war between men and seagulls.
Right.
And this happens in Maine quite a bit. There are a lot of gulls, and so what they do is they will round up their homes and then throw them in the ocean. Very much like the Boston Tea Party, threw the tea into the bay in protest of taxes by the English. And so in Maine, what they do is they gather these gull homes and they throw them in the water.
Right.
As a form of
the
protest.
Maine Gull Party.
The Maine Gull Party, yeah.
Oh, yes. I've heard of these.
Yes. Now, there are two parties, the A party and the B party. Now, unfortunately, the reasonable ones are in the A party, but they go by Maine Gull A, which is too close to Mengele.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was a Nazi monster. He was a Nazi monster.
Not a great guy.
No, as you see here, they're very patriotic. They get the smallest flag they can and put it on top of their ship.
My favorite Nazi monster was Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein,
The
yes.
half werewolf, half Frankenstein. Yeah.
Half wolf, half Stein.
And yes.
The game recently came out for the PC.
Ah, yes. Now, you're a bit of a PC gamer.
That's
Is that
correct.
true, Peyton?
Yes. Here in 1993.
What's your favorite game?
I'm a classic. I like the game Conflict.
Ah.
Yeah,
I
that was
like
out
this
at the time.
new game that's come out called Minesweeper.
Yes.
Yes.
It very teaches you how to use the mouse.
Absolutely.
Which is the right click, which is the left click.
That's right.
I get those two confused often. Now, as you can see, these men are dropping the gull houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I don't know if you noticed the pulley in that last shot. I was on the other side of the boat and I was just pulling the rope. It was
that
a
is
practical
shameful.
joke.
Now, of course, they're pulling the gull houses back up, and they're seeing that it has not had the desired effect. They're full of lobsters.
Yeah, well,
full of.
as long as the gulls are dead was what Gary? Is that his name?
Yes, Gary.
Greg kept saying, as long as the gulls are dead, I don't care how many lobsters we have to deal with.
Now, what
That's
is he
fair.
doing here?
He's attaching his phone number to each lobster
Ah.
So
in
that-
hopes
yeah.
that a woman. Now, this is an old courting ritual in Maine.
Ah.
Men will take the virile men of the village will
Yes.
take lobsters and
Yes.
put their phone numbers on them, drop them into a big bucket, and then a woman, a young lass, will come by and select a lobster and call the phone number, and then that horny fisherman will arrive at her home. And as you said, there's very few marriages in Maine, and that is mostly due to the lobster courtship.
I'll say they tested to see if I was virile enough to participate in this, and they said no go. You
I-
don't get to put your phone number on a lobster.
I can't imagine you passed that test.
No,
That's
failed.
unfortunate.
Failed with flying colors.
Oh, very unfortunate. As you can see here, we've got another wonderful shot of Greg's posterior.
That was part of the test.
It was part of you getting on the boat.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's how they coaxed you onto it.
Yes.
Greg, famously, he's very proud. He was the cover fisherman on Maine's Sexy Fisherman calendar.
That's correct.
Yes, a calendar that famously quoted as "No one wants this."
Yes, that's right.
Greg had been doing a lot of sweating to the oldies
Yes.
on his VHS. He bought the home video cassettes. Richard Simmons, great man, and
Now,
it's really working out for him.
a quick question for you. This is men catching lobsters, and I want to say Chip. Mm-hmm. Chip is your name, Chet?
My name is
Chester.
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 I
By the way,
call
this-
you
People call me
for
Chip.
short.
People call
Yeah.
me Chip.
Very famous blue lobster right here. Very rare.
Very rare.
They're very
rare.
angry.
Now, if you catch a blue lobster and you put your phone number on that,
There you go.
then you can have multiple gals come to your home.
Wow.
Multiples. And you're the mayor for 1 week.
That's why they're so.
Ghostly steps aside?
That's why-
Ghostly steps aside
That's
for
why
1
they're,
week.
they're so they're so respected. The blue lobster was so coveted.
Absolutely.
Right.
They say it's almost as rare as seeing Stephen King not on cocaine
Right.
in Maine.
Yeah,
A famous Maine
1993,
resident.
yeah, very much.
1993,
Lots of cocaine. Yeah,
and he
that's
loves
right.
long strolls, and he knows he'll never be hit by a van.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So, as you can see, these men are catching lobster. And Chip, I like to call you Chip for short.
Yes.
You don't have any experience with catching lobster, but you said you've caught crabs a few times.
I caught crabs a few times from a lobster.
Oh, dear.
Yes, I misunderstood the tradition,
Oh, my.
and I caught the lobster. I took it home. I went to bed. I made a lobster Newburg, and I woke up with some unwelcome bedfellows.
That's unfortunate, and that's why we're making this film about New England and not the one we did previous, which was the Philippines, I believe. Was
yes.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to one of our next projects, the Twin Towers, Forever Standing,
Oh, the New York one.
by the
yes.
Dolphin's Eye.
Oh, my.
By the way, you burned that Philippines footage, right?
Yes,
Did you?
I think so.
And what I'm most excited about is when we do our Los Angeles, California video. We have some wonderful guests coming in to talk while we see the footage. We have such guests as the very famous Kevin Spacey will be talking.
Yes.
And we'll be having a little bit of fun and a goof as we get Comedy's own William Cosby to arrive.
What a get.
And he's going to tell us a little bit about the coastline of California.
Oh, a lot of great wines in California.
Some wonderful wines, absolutely. In fact, one of them is named Harvey Weinstein, and he'll be arriving too. And we're excited about that because we're in talks with him to start releasing these videos through Miramax.
Yes.
And so, fingers crossed, folks.
It all depends on the sales of New England. By the Dolphin's Eye. By the
Again,
Dolphin's
not
Eye.
a sexual thing.
Not
It's
the
simply
sexual
name
term.
Of
Do not
company.
think about the sexual thing, the
And-
sexual Dolphin's Eye.
Please don't. Please do
read
not.
Don't
your
think
mind
about
of the
it.
concept.
And
Yes.
also, we stop asking because we don't know why it's called that.
No.
Because none of the footage is from the point of view of, say, a dolphin.
Right.
In fact, this would probably be just like from a guy's eye.
Yeah, from a man's eye. From
From a man's eye, not a woman.
No.
Not a woman.
No.
No,
From-
you won't see any dirty dishes being washed in this video. There's no shopping malls. It's just for men by men.
mostly Peyton's eye.
Yes, I did a lot of these. This
Yes. We were thinking about calling the new production company Fimbim, For Men by Men. And that's why you've only seen strong men. And yes, that beautiful person walking by was a man, but
correct.
wearing what is called a woman's haircut.
Yes, that's correct.
1993 in Maine. You need to remember, now if this footage looks like it's not in 93, what you need to remember is in Maine, it's actually still 1987. They have not hit the 90s yet.
This is a lot of footage of these docks and fishermen.
Yes.
Peyton, did you do the editing on this?
I didn't have Final Cut, but I did a lot of work in the bay using our Avid machines.
Now, fun story about this footage. I was there that day. They turned into ghosts and faded away.
What time did that happen? What time of day?
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think it was peak. It must have been midday at the time.
That's right.
And we kind of looked at each other. We're like, I guess we could keep shooting somewhere. So we went to a rocky coastline.
Yes.
And we kept looking for fishermen.
We had the footage, we had the film, we had the daylight, and we made a good use of it.
Absolutely.
As we always do.
I remember.
As we always do.
There's no footage, but we do have a still photo of Chester here was lying on his back and then pretending the lighthouse was
yes.
his penis.
Yes, that's correct.
Very funny.
That's
Very
one of my go-tos.
Now, Maine, the coastline of Maine, as everybody knows, has a large amount of lighthouses.
Yes.
And
Yes.
a lot of tourists will go to Maine to see those lighthouses. Fun fact, most of them don't do a damn thing.
Nope.
You just sort of look at it and go, wow, look at that lighthouse. And you don't think about how lonely the men were that worked there.
No.
We met one of those men.
We did meet one of those men,
Yes.
And it was an interesting meeting, I will say. He thought that we were there to do ill.
This was the man with one eye?
The man with one eye, yes.
Yes,
and
I
it
remember
kept
him.
changing. It kept switching,
Yes.
which was very interesting. As you can see there, he's flashing "Get away."
I want to say that Chester can do a pretty spot-on impression of that lonely lighthouse
the
keeper.
one-eyed lighthouse
The one-eyed
keeper, which is also what I do call my penis.
Yes, it's
the
also
one-eyed
sexual.
lighthouse keeper.
Chester, do you have the impression queued up of the gentleman yelling at us?
I think I remember it was something like,
Now that is like looking through a mirror. It's like listening to a mirror when I hear that.
I love
It's like
that's
listening
one of
through
my
a scanner
favorite
darkly.
After puddle gazing, mirror looking
Yes.
is one of my favorite hobbies.
Now a little bit more history about the lighthouse in Maine.
Yes.
The lighthouse.
That one looks like a
keepers-
penis and two balls.
It absolutely does. And it was a goof by the architect, of course. Now, lighthouses are often thought of, and I don't know if you knew this, but lighthouses are often thought of as a way to warn ships.
Yes.
Danger,
Yes.
coastline, watch out. They're actually, the lighthouse keepers are very lonely and don't want people around.
That's
They're-
correct.
They're hermits, if you will.
Ornery.
Yes, and so the lighthouse was originally constructed in Maine to be a warning. Stay away.
Stay away
Not
from Maine.
ships from the coast,
Right.
but anyone. Don't
Anyone.
come here.
Yes.
There's a big light, and I'll find you. If you're trying to hide, this light will find you.
That's right.
And this light here, of course, is made of Fabergé eggs.
That's correct. They were melted down.
They were melted, yes.
I learned during my research on lighthouses, lighthouses inspired the Eye of Sauron from
What is
the
that?
Lord of the Rings.
Interesting.
Oh, the books.
the book
Yes,
series.
the books.
The book series.
Sadly, will never be made into films.
No, too ambitious.
Too much.
Never
It's
will
too
do
much.
this.
No one could ever do it.
No.
The only person I would ever trust to try and do that would be somebody that did like weird shit with puppets.
Yeah, something like
Then
that.
I'd say, okay, you can give it a
Yes.
go.
Yes, right.
And I don't mean Jim Henson.
No.
No.
Jim Henson, of course, was in our video that we did about Sesame Street.
That's correct.
1993 is Jim Henson still.
He's still going strong.
He's
I
going
believe.
strong as far as I
Yeah, he'll never die.
We don't have any way to look that up at any
Yeah,
moment
there's
right
no,
now.
I wish I had like a. I wish I could put a whole computer in my own pocket.
But computer.
Yes.
I mean, they're
You could
15 feet by 15
Yes.
feet at the smallest.
But what if it was the size? What if it was the size of a calculator?
Wow.
So only a foot by a foot.
This is upsetting.
Now, of course, here we are.
I can only imagine that would make the world better.
We are now seeing Maine's Swarovski Crystal Factory.
Oh, yes.
And some beautiful music being played by someone rubbing their fingers on crystal.
Now, did you do this music, Peyton?
I did.
And she was
Wow.
not. Crystal was not
Crystal
happy about
was
that.
she's very upset with me.
She's a beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman,
Beautiful
very
voice as she
kind.
groans when you rub her
Yes.
with wet fingers.
That's how she sounds
It's
to me.
similar.
Another
Similar, yeah.
another spot-on impression. from
Glenn,
Chester
again,
Pringle.
just to be clear, this is not a dolphin.
Yes.
This is not the dolphin's eye.
No.
This is a cameraman's eye.
Yes, that's correct.
This is-
Peyton.
yeah, and Crystal's mouth.
Oh, like
Yes.
Crystal's mouth. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, of course, we're seeing again
The balls.
the lighthouse. And if you'll remember from a moment ago, it is also the lighthouse. And inside you'll find a big light bulb. This is what the folks came to see.
This is
Yes.
what they're here for.
This
yes.
is what they're here for. They look up at that tower and they go, what does it look like inside? And
Can
then
you-
you see it and you go, oh, okay.
This is also the look from inside a dolphin's eye. Similar
Yes.
crystalline structure. Probably. No one has ever successfully captured a dolphin.
What
No
a
one.
beautiful sunset on the coastline.
Beautiful sunset. Surprise, we're inside.
Well, I could tell because it looked a little dirty.
A little dirty, yes. A little dirty. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but the light is not on.
No.
And that is because the sun has not fully set yet.
The sun is like a light in many ways.
In a lot of ways, the sun is like a big lantern slowly
Yes.
moving across the sky.
That's correct.
Yes, now the light has been turned on.
Yes.
And I believe the cameraman, when they were shooting this, made blind for a week.
Is that correct, Peyton?
I was not the cameraman on this shoot.
Oh.
No, I sent my nephew up.
What's his name?
Oh,
Shit.
what a weird name.
It's White Walters.
White.
Oh, I don't. Well, all right.
White.
Oh, no, I see
Your
what-
brother
I-
or sister
no,
is weird.
It's after white out, the correction
The drink.
fluid.
Oh, no, yes.
Yes.
Whoops.
Yes.
I've made that mistake a few times. And boy, was my face mostly white.
Oh, classic Jet. You and your blunders.
Now, if anyone watching this is wondering, is this going to stop soon? No. It's going to continue for longer than anyone wants.
I'll say I let White edit this section as well. He had not recovered his sight yet, so he didn't know
He didn't
how
know
many
how
shots
long. Yes.
Right.
of the lighthouse interior there.
Well, there
were.
have been other competing videos made about the New England coastline,
Right.
and we said we're going to beat them by having the most angles of the same lighthouse.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct. Have you counted?
I do know that some of my film students, two men that go by Wachowski,
Yes.
they've been watching some of this footage, and they said if only they could have cameras go all the way around the lighthouse to capture a 360 view of it.
That could
And I said, that's
And
interesting.
that would never
Impossible.
happen.
And you know, those two boys are very clever. Very
They-
clever boys.
They are. All right. Back during the day. Back
This
at
is
the
a
White
different
House.
lighthouse.
This is a different one. No balls.
Chip, that's also a different lighthouse.
Now, this is what they call a white-red house.
Now, I want you to guess which one of these houses is not a lighthouse. We've seen a few. Take a good look. Which one do you think is
I mean,
not
the one on the
lighthouse?
left.
I
is not
think
a
the one
lighthouse.
that's not a lighthouse is the one with the light spinning.
That was close.
Oh.
That was close, but it's actually the other house. And do you know what they call that?
Yes, what?
They call that the keeper's house.
Ah.
And the keeper is the man.
The guy
who
that says,
takes care of it. That's right. Yes.
Ah.
All lighthouse keepers are weird creeps.
I'll
creeps,
just throw it out
weird.
there. Why not a dark house?
Thank
well,
you.
it's because of racism.
Ah,
Yes. Now, as you can see here, that light is inoperable. It's actually just the lighthouse keeper sort of wandering lost. He's unsure of where to go, so he keeps spinning.
Now, these two birds are actually my two pet
what?
egrets.
What are their names?
They're my pet egrets?
Yes, yes.
Well, there's Ingrid.
There's Ingrid and Egon.
Oh!
Ingrid and Egon, of course.
Oh, from the famous Ghostbusters.
That brand new movie that came out a few years ago.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful
I think
film.
9 years ago.
9 years ago is new to me still. I don't get out much.
As you can see, this now is different. This is a lighthouse.
Ah.
Yes. Just to throw a little difference. Now there,
Now that's
don't be
a shot.
confused. That's actually the sun behind the lighthouse, sort of eclipsing it. A big fuck you to the sun, if you will.
A wise man once said,
Yes.
the sun is like a light.
I don't know that it was a wise man.
I don't know about that. Few people know this. That buoy is the buoy from Jaws, the beginning of Jaws, the shark film.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Now, Jaws. Where was Jaws shot? It was in New England.
Sure.
Was it in Maine?
I believe it was no. I believe it was off the coast of Massachusetts. I
Oh,
think.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yes,
Yes.
That's
you're a
correct.
Massachusetts specialist.
Yes.
That's right. So that is actually Jaws right there. Up, he's jumping in the ocean. and
Doesn't,
that was the shark that Jaws was based on. They
like-
couldn't
Yes.
catch him to actually
so big
star
it
in the
was
movie.
a whale,
So big he was the.
and it was about to set sail, like the B-52s would often say.
This section is what we call shots of the original Jaws. Look how majestic his tail is.
Seems.
Now, this boat, I don't know if you knew this, comes from Nantucket, which is an island off of Massachusetts coastline. Now, there, bit different, a lighthouse.
Yes,
I knew a man from
short-
Nantucket.
a shorter lighthouse.
Yes. Oh, you knew a man from Nantucket.
Yes.
Oh, what happened to him?
Well, he had an interesting hobby.
What was it?
Well, I don't know if we could talk about it here. This is for children.
Oh, it is? Whoops.
Somewhat.
Hey, kids, plug your ears. Bit of a different shot here. Here's a lighthouse.
Now this forest.
Now, this sign is outside of my home, and it says, that's me. I'm thickly settled. And my wife is mad at the sign because she thinks it means something different. Here we're seeing a beautiful...
Main Street.
Just, I don't know. Well, it is a main street,
Right.
but I don't know if it's a main street.
Oh, okay. But
Interesting. I can't remember when we filmed that. Here we see a church, and we won't get into who they let in there and who they didn't.
Yes.
It's a whole to-do.
who got burned in the
Oh,
yard
my
outside?
drunken niece is learning how to ride a bike.
That's correct. Now, did she ever get the hang of it?
Never did.
There she
Never
goes.
did.
Yeah,
she
there
fell.
she goes
She
down
fell.
again.
And then what's important is she didn't get back on.
No.
She
That's
gave
right.
up.
Gave up
Yeah.
immediately.
I said, give up, leave it in the bushes.
Remember this day at the beach? Sparsely attended.
Very sparsely attended.
We were hoping for a huge turnout.
Well, there were a few Jaws warnings out that day.
That's right.
And there goes my sister-in-law, my
Sober.
niece's mother.
Sober,
As
though.
you can see, my niece not in the seat behind it. A lighthouse. A schooner drifting
right.
by here, a lovely sailboat. I don't know if you knew this. Often only used, operated, and experienced by the wealthy.
That's correct.
Sounds
You'll never
right.
find a poor
On a schooner.
on a schooner.
On a schooner, that's correct.
Only if they work there,
Right.
serving. Mm-hmm. And over here, you can see just in the distance a lighthouse. Very wonderful.
What is that in a
puddle.
reflection of?
Chip's one of Chip's favorites, Big Puddle.
Puddle gazing. Oh, there we go.
A lighthouse.
Surprise! It's a lighthouse. Of course, no information on the screen of what lighthouse, where it is.
Nope.
Nothing. We don't even know what state this is, and that's important to give you a sense of surprise. Because when you come to New England, because we've also been given a little bit of money by the Tourism Board of New England,
Yes.
to try and entice people to these beautiful states. Over here, with just a quick shot of the Grand Canyon. Surprise! It's the beach, and.
Now I wrote this song and played this for this soundtrack.
Yes.
It's I play a little on the acoustic guitar, and this is an original song. The song's name is "Approaching Dread," and
Oh, there it is.
Surprise, Lighthouse.
that's correct. And I was excited that they put us in charge of all aspects of production on this video.
from pre-production through production,
Yes.
all the way through to post-production, and we also have to mail out the VHS tapes when they're
that's
ordered.
That's correct.
And I asked them if we could put a phone number up or some sort of way to contact us to get something, but
Yes.
they said no. We just want lighthouses.
We actually asked if we could put
Surprise!
we could put up some lighthouse names, indicators
Any
of what
information.
state we might be in for any shot that we might have.
They said I want the blurriest shot of a lighthouse possible.
That's what they said.
The camera was drunk.
Very drunk.
That's what we handed in.
And as you can see, we planned to shoot some beautiful outdoor footage of a parade that was happening in town, but a squall came
Yes.
through, a bit of a hurricane.
But we made the best of it.
We did. We stood out there as long as possible. This here, I
Lighthouse?
can tell you, is Nubble Lighthouse in York, Maine. I grew up very close to there, and that's true. That's all goddamn true. In fact, the little basket you can see on the left is for mail delivery and goods to the lighthouse keeper. It's kind of weird that I know that, but I genuinely
Well,
grew
you're
up
an
there.
expert on Maine. So.
Absolutely. In fact, I could be just behind this camera going, who's that weird fucker with the camera?
Now,
There's the basket. That delivers. I can't believe I'm giving actual factual information.
I'm also surprised.
That basket is used to transfer through a pulley system. Oh, Peyton, you've got to get a rain guard.
All right,
Now,
here's the thing.
Now,
I
as
left
you
the
can
camera
see, one man
unattended.
walking on the water.
Now, I remember the week of this squall. Is that what we called it?
Squall.
Skull.
And I remember it was noteworthy because I lost my nephew in the squall.
Oh, I thought it was.
There he
There
is.
he goes, right there.
It was a tough week for the family Pringle,
Yes,
but I never liked him.
and now you
His
can
name was
see-
John Glover.
John Glover Pringle.
Absolutely.
He was
John
only
Glover.
22 years old.
And it's sad.
They got the date wrong.
Because he did say he was too old for this shit
Yes.
right before he died.
That's right.
But he was
That's
only
right.
22. Back then, that's what would happen.
Yes,
You know, and he was
exactly.
on the ship China, is what it said on that sign.
Yes.
What ship are you on? China.
China.
Oh, I thought
correct.
that was a bunch of. Oh yes,
Now,
Niffle.
Nathal H. Cook is my grandfather.
Nathal was an interesting man. He was lost together with the whole crew of the schooner William T. Bitch.
Oh,
That schooner, famously, the sinking of the bitch.
we all know.
Folk songs were sung about the
We
sinking
all
of
know
the
the
bitch.
story of William T. Bitch.
Yes.
Originally William Williams, and he
Yes.
lost that bet.
And then we've all heard the old song, the rhyme as children we know. Billy Bitch, had a niche, and then the ship went sinking. You know that one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I carved all these.
Oh, beautiful. I love the visage of the horrifying angel.
Noted
Frank
musician
Black.
Frank Black.
He has done what he could, is what it
And
said.
people were thankful that person died. Thank God. Phew is what originally the gravestone was supposed to say. Phew, that's done.
I'll say all of the art on the gravestone has significance.
Yes.
That one was a man who had a
handshake.
penis for a thumb.
This says this is how
says
big my penis is.
E.T. phone home.
Yes.
Now that
That was
that's
an
supposed to
ugly
be-
person.
that's supposed to be me.
Unfortunately,
That
it's
was
an-
supposed to be a
It's
self-portrait.
an unflattering self-portrait.
It really is.
Wouldn't it be neat to have a camera that you could just take self-portraits with all the time?
True. Oh, I believe we're entering my wife's antique shop right
Ah,
now.
yes.
And
Patriotic wife.
I was happy to have. We only put that out for the filming. The
Good
flag's only there for the cameras.
Well, yes, because you don't anyone think you support President Clinton.
Oh no, absolutely not.
How
yes.
is Sally?
She's okay?
She looks sick.
It's because she is sick.
Oh,
But hopefully,
what kind of sick?
they say that she might have caught it from old shit.
Oh yes,
And
that
I said,
makes
well,
sense.
she's got a whole shop full of it.
Those boots
These
are
of
doing it
course,
for me.
Those are new, actually. Those shoes are brand new for Sally. She's got huge feet.
Oh, a virtual boy.
Did you
Yes. Now that is the original Dr. Mario.
did you ever play Wario Land 3?
Has that come out yet?
It was the best game for the Virtual Boy, I would
Oh.
say. Oh, that or Mario Tennis.
Interesting. Now, I had a niece that would put a bulge in her pants and she would refer to herself as a virtual boy.
Oh,
Is that the same thing?
I hope that never becomes common.
As you can see here, my wife had a drinking problem.
Yes, that's correct.
And, so these are various jugs. Oh, there are more jugs.
Goodness.
She likes to, you know what she calls them? Her jug band.
Yeah, makes
And I'm
sense.
like, haha, Sally, very nice.
Very
I
cute.
laugh because she's sick.
Very cute.
Yes, she can no longer get up those stairs, and so
Just
her
a
skis
ski, just-
rest
skis.
mournfully.
Now, did you carve that airplane?
No, my mentally retarded cousin, as I said before, he gave it a shot, and
A
there
tux-
he is.
A tuxedo cat. I'm on board.
There he is.
Hello, tuxedo cat.
No,
Yes.
do you still let him make his own hats?
I do let him make his own hats, and he loves to make the hats. We just don't have him wear any like shirts or pants because he can't figure out buttons. So he just wears dresses. But he loves the hats.
And how has the progress been with molesting kittens?
It's not great. He shakes them to death often. He will often shake the kitten to death, but thankfully his legs are dead and sort of flop around, so we let him do it. We feel bad. That's the sled that he was in that broke his spine.
In his brain, you said. Is that correct?
His brain, yes. His spine and his brain were both shattered
Well, they're
that
connected.
day. What a sledding incident that was.
Ah, the upside down canoe.
That's a symbol.
Another
That
s-
means we swing.
Yes, I was going to say, that's another sex thing.
Yeah, if you see an upside-down canoe, it means watch out. These folks are ready to go. As you can see, all of my wife's knickknacks and bullshit.
Yes.
A lot of
Too much
tchotchkes.
stuff. She is...
There's a cleaver up there. I'd be worried.
One day they will have a name for what she has, a problem with collecting too many things.
No, I don't believe so.
She sort of hoards them.
No, I can't imagine
H2H.
There's only positives can come from that hoarding.
Well, she says it's an antique shop, but as you can see, not a customer in sight.
Oh, I pressed the
You've hit
menu
it.
button.
Oh, don't hit it.
Okay,
Oh,
I got it. I turned
okay,
it
it's
off.
gone. Oh, it's gone. Good.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
sat on the remote.
We haven't had a customer in months. Months. No customers come. That's why we shot this, because we're hoping more customers arrive. As you can see, some of my drills, those aren't for sale, I keep saying. She says, leave them. That's my hammer.
That's your
Now-
car.
And that is my brand new vehicle.
Have you been able... Yeah, I was going to...
All of my sides.
Please don't moke.
No moking.
No moking.
No moking here.
Now,
and my
sing-
wife's sad little garden. She can't plant for shit.
I believe that's a commode.
And she feels bad, so she puts one flower out and then says, down the road, there's more. More of them, yes. One of my lanterns, of
Yes,
course.
that's correct.
I used to signal Schlotterbrecks.
Schlotterbeck's, come more, Glycon.
Yep.
If you say that 3 times, a demon will come.
This was filmed at
Uh-oh. Don't say it 3 times.
filmed at 3 p.m.
Fun fact, it's always 3 p.m. in the antique shop. It's the only time my wife knows how to set.
Now, were you playing saxophone for this part?
No, that is my soft-headed cousin doing it. Yeah.
Wow.
Bit of a savant, really.
Yeah, I was gonna
sultry.
say, yes.
Sultry. The
Very
legs don't
much
work,
so.
but man, does that reed work just come through.
The lips.
Chapped, very chapped.
Oh.
As you can see here, we
Sick pony.
yes, that was one of the ponies in town, and they felt so bad when it died that they just put plaster of Paris around it, and that's how they made a statue of it.
And a lot of people don't know this. That's how they invented the first carousel.
That is very true. Yes, the inventor of the carousel, and it was encased, entombed horses.
That's correct. It smelled very bad.
It did, but it was fun.
I don't know what this stuff is, but it looks a lot like my sex dungeon.
An
Especially
outdoor,
that.
bit of an outdoor, yes.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
now you were saying previously, Peyton, that you can manage to get a foot on each wheel,
Yes.
very far apart. And now, is that rust from weathering, or is that from things that have been done with it?
That's moisture from human bodies.
Jism.
Okay, so it's more of a wear and tear situation.
Yes.
I see. What is that?
Good Lord, Peyton, what is this?
Well, you strap your arms and legs of multiple people to it,
My God, it's some sort of
and you just
Caligula
spin
machine.
them. Yes, that's what
Oh.
it's called.
Oh,
Here-
and of course, the euphemism we all know for taking a shit, driving the old tractor through the covered bridge.
This one's green.
Oh, you've had a lot of kale.
Now, that was Farmer.
I believe that was Dale.
That was Dale. That's right.
Yes.
Farmer Dale.
He runs a marijuana farm.
That's
As
correct.
you can see, a full truck of marijuana.
Now, that's his assistant, Murphy.
High as hell, looking for the keys to the tractor.
That's correct.
He's like, I lost it. I threw him in the river.
Oh, Murphy.
I'm never gonna find these keys.
Now, Dale and Murphy, that is a pair.
They are a pair. They really are a pair.
Yeah.
Dale Murphy, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of Atlanta Braves fans.
Now, I heard this bridge was on its last legs.
Yes, as you can see, there is a guard at the front there, will not allow vehicles through.
Yes.
And the cows refuse to go near it.
Yes.
They all lay on the other side. Now, they're supposed to come through to the other end. They refuse to go over the bridge.
They can sense it.
I'm not one to believe in superstition, but it is a Maineism. If a cow won't go there, fucking stay away. I swore. Sorry, this is for the kids.
That's right. That's okay.
Puddle gazing again.
another puddle.
Now, this you captured this shot. Is that true, Chip?
Yes, I framed it perfectly. I figured people would appreciate this more if it was upside down and blurry, and you
raining.
couldn't really make out what it was at all.
But you were able to see the two people walking by at the beginning of the shot.
That's correct.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And you got
And
in a
then-
fight with those two
And
people.
then just
I did.
let it linger. Just let it linger. Just let it linger.
You
Just let
have
it
to
linger.
let it linger.
Linger.
That's an
linger.
interesting idea for a song. As you know, we're all songsmiths here.
It's
You have to-
1993.
You have to let it linger.
Now, this is a different
Interesting.
covered bridge.
Now, this bridge is actually in Montana.
But
I don't know how this shot got in
But-
here.
This is an accident.
well, we needed
We needed more bridges.
we needed more
bridges.
rainy
That was one of the
bridge
notes from the
shots.
Dolphin's eye. They said
Yeah.
more covered bridges.
They said we want this an equal number of lighthouses and bridges.
and make sure it's raining so you can understand that it's covered.
Yes.
We want to see a dry interior of a bridge while you are soaking wet.
Yeah, that's right.
Another one. Now this is in Vermont, I believe.
Yes, it
Peyton,
is.
You
Yes,
took this
it
shot,
is.
and you
The-
said that this bridge has some importance to you.
Yes, it's where I lost my virginity.
Oh my!
Ooh.
yes.
Open
Well,
on both
my.
sides.
well, hand virginity.
Your hand virginity.
Hand
Okay. Now was it your hand or a hand
it
to
was
you?
It was my hand to me.
Oh.
Yes.
I don't know if that's.
I don't know what that doesn't count as
well,
anything.
I guess it's good. It was a covered bridge.
Yes, yeah. Congratulations, by
Thank
the way.
you.
Yes.
It's making me want to do things.
And you did that
like-
just before filming.
Yeah, I'll do it to the I'll do a dolphin's eye right now.
It's a red letter day.
No.
Oh, not the sexual one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yes. Now, this home established in 1853.
Oh, yes.
It is a church.
Yeah, it's a home for Jesus.
It's a home for Jesus. But 1853, so it's a home for Jesus. But don't go in if you're a certain person.
Yes, depends on the person.
It always depends on the person.
That's correct.
Of course.
Although it's pretty far north, so
And as you can see, a for sale sign on that small patch of land there,
yes.
The church was trying to raise some money.
selling off that little bit of land.
You could build a shed.
A bathroom, public or not.
Yes,
And as you can see, full running water capabilities for that property.
that's right.
Tragically, some college students went cliff diving
Oh, dear.
at that location.
Oh,
A lot of the footage was impounded by the state.
good Lord. And ironically, one of the children that, I won't say children, young adults
Yes.
that perished was named Cliff. Oh, tragic.
No, those two children were the bridge goblins. That's what they were known as.
Yeah,
They protected the bridge.
Ruffians from the area, yes.
That's correct.
Absolutely. And we had to put the piano music over this because you could hear Peyton yelling at them.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
You're ruining my shot,
Yes.
you kept yelling. Get out of here. Break for moose. of
Now, there
course.
had been 195 collisions when we filmed this.
That
It's
sign
up
is
to-
now changed.
It's 267.
Yes.
And it's been 1 week.
And we did an interview
Yes.
with the man in charge of changing the numbers.
Yes.
And he said he took the job because he thought it would be, in his words, just an easy gig, a layabout.
Yes. Yes.
And but then he told us he's been working very hard.
He was so mad that we kept crashing into the same moose.
yes.
Yes. Well,
But-
they're
but I
large
said,
and they're tough.
We want the footage
We kept
of moose
trying
guts.
to. We,
Right.
we wanted the viewer to experience what it's like to live in Maine and Vermont and crash into a
Not
moose.
New Hampshire.
Not New Hampshire. To crash into a moose, as so many of us have, and we had to get it right.
Now, a moose, hitting a moose is actually, if someone were to say, have been raised in Maine,
Yes.
would hear often about the danger of hitting a moose.
Yes.
And that is, either way the moose comes through the windshield is bad. Because either they're going to come antler first.
Ouch.
And really do a number on you, or what could be even worse is the legs come through, and then the moose begins thrashing and will fucking kill you.
So you're looking to kind of aim for the anus. Is that what you'd say?
I would say what you want to do ideally is not hit the moose. That's tip number 1.
That doesn't sound very fun.
Tip number 2, and this is real, don't brake right before hitting the moose. They say that's actually worse.
Charge
because
through?
what you're doing is dropping the hood of your car down slightly, the front of your car, as you brake,
Wow.
allowing the moose to come through the windshield even further. So what you want to do is you want to just, again, I can't stress this enough. Tip number 1, don't hit the moose.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
If you do, gun it.
Ah, puddle gazing.
What if you had some sort of nitrous oxide in
Well,
your
then you would-
car
you would hit that.
to make
Yes.
the front of your car stand up.
Yes.
That would look
In
good.
which case, not hitting the moose, but mounting it.
in the
Mount the
climactic
moose.
scene of a movie, I would love to see a car
Oh,
like
yes.
on its back wheels.
That
just stand
does
up.
sound
That does
entertaining.
sound very entertaining.
I wonder how many years a movie franchise could go on
No, I can't imagine.
I don't know.
based
pretty
around
much
that
one
kind
thing.
of thing.
But what would they be doing?
Yes. That
One
is
of
a
your
good question.
most beautiful puddle shots, by the way, Chip, I have to say.
Oh,
Beautiful
yes,
puddle
thank you
shot.
very much. Yes. Hey, I'm a
And you were
puddle gazer.
splishing and splashing at the time?
With my toes.
With your toes, yes.
I had to hold the camera. Now, this is some of the beautiful foliage of the New England fall. Now, have you ever heard people say foliage?
I have heard some stupid people say foliage.
You know what? I submitted it as a possible gig to that new show, The Simpsons, to have a character say foliage instead of foliage.
Interesting.
Because that
yeah.
episode hasn't aired yet in 1993.
So you're a writer as well?
Yeah, I dabble.
Those are two
Ruffians.
the two
Bridge
goblins.
Goblin.
Ruffians, yes.
They at that point they were in my shot to ruin my shot.
Rude, very rude.
Very rude.
You almost had a physical altercation with
I
them.
did.
Now, you said that they walked in while you were losing your virginity. Isn't that correct?
Yes. And that was when the moment they walked in was the moment that
Of
the virginity
climax?
was technically
Well,
lost.
I
yes.
thought that was sort of your piece being made, is because they were also losing their
Well, the first.
hand virginity.
Yes, my first time, their first time. Who can say? Did somebody laugh at me? Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But then I learned that made me lose my virginity a second time. When someone laughs
oh,
at
you've
me,
unlocked something.
when somebody laughs at me, boy oh boy.
So you referred to every time you climax as losing your virginity? Is that correct?
Well, doesn't everyone?
Yes, I suppose.
As you can see here, nothing.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy, you really feel the minutes passing in this, don't you?
A little bit more puzzle gazing. Puzzle gazing.
I cannot believe how long this.
So long.
Do
isn't it?
dolphins not see time the way we do?
I'll put it this way: if you ever fear the passage of time, put this on. It'll slow things down so much. You'll understand how much time
I
passes.
mean, speaking of, at least we know this
oh,
footage.
look, and it's even saying it's slow.
It's slow.
This footage will stand the test of time. That 30 plus years from now, people will look back at what
Oh,
we've
yes.
done.
Yes.
Yes, they'll have this at the top of their VHS collection.
Yes. Now, this was the longest covered bridge in the northern
Part of
United
that
States.
town.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
My bad. Yes.
They were proud of it.
Yes. They
Oh,
were.
beautiful nighttime puddle gazing.
Yes.
We have a lot of puddles.
Well, you know, when
A lot
when
of
you
pud-
give a camera to a man
That's
that loves
true.
puddles,
That's
you're going to get a
exactly
lot
right,
of footage
yes.
of puddles.
Puddle gazing is the number one pastime of New Englanders. And so I thought about 60% of the runtime should be puddles.
Absolutely. And people say it started because they have to walk around kind of looking down
Yes.
pretty much all the time.
Yes. That's correct.
Because of ice and snow and danger.
And depression.
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 And moose dropping.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to step in a moose dropping.
Yes.
Not at all.
Now, this was a primitive heat lamp, so you could get a nice tan for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever time of year when the sun, aka the light of the sky, was not around.
And they said that if you, on some nights, if you go here, under that heat lamp is a turkey. Now, there's one of the killers now.
There's one of the. So this was
Steaming
right before
mad.
we tried
Fuming.
to get a good hit of the moose and
Yes.
really give you the shot.
Strike number 212, I believe,
Now-
of the 195 collisions reported.
Now, Peyton, you zoomed in on complete blackness.
Yes.
Even though the moose was.
Well, I wanted to show the stealthiness of,
You've
the,
gotta-
of the modern moose.
You have to shoot what you see. And if
Yeah.
you can't see much, that's what you're going
There
to
were
get.
multiple moose in that shot.
You know what I
Yeah.
say about your filming skills?
What's that?
You have an eye for mystery.
Thank you.
Now, here we see three moose. Oh, no, sorry, those are children. Those are indeed children. I apologize. I thought they were
the
moose.
child tried to commit suicide.
That's right.
It's a tradition.
His friend said, "No,
This
there's
is-
so much to live for.
This is
One day the
hanging tree.
Patriots will be good."
that is known as the Hanging Tree Bridge.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Now here you can see a
This-
road.
All right, confession that that's a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle.
This one-
I just
this
got
was
footage
just
of a jigsaw puzzle.
It looks real. It's very realistic.
Thank
You put it together?
I
Beautiful.
put it together.
Good
yes.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a difficult one.
I
How many
was
pieces?
Especially usually your
One-
hands are so gnarled.
1,000 pieces.
Wow. You did it
It's
alone?
a lot of,
Yes.
I'm always learning new things about you.
Yes,
as you can see here.
Before you lost your virginity?
yes.
I see.
Now, if you looked at that tree and you said, what do the leaves look like? That's why we brought these shots in.
Yes.
We wanted to give you a sense of them.
I'll say since I lost my virginity, I spend a lot less time putting together puzzles.
I
and
see.
More time
Losing your virginity?
losing my virginity.
That's why I was so surprised you finished the puzzle.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was younger.
Ah.
Now, I like to name each leaf I see. Do you do the same?
No, because it takes too long.
It takes me
It does. I
a
tried to go
long
to the
time.
grocery store one day and I started naming all the leaves, and my father died. It went so long.
When you say naming leaves, do you mean like that's a maple leaf?
No.
No. Like
That's
what, ready?
Gregory,
Watch,
that's
ready?
Charlton Charles.
That's Jimmy Bob,
Oh, Jimmy
Sally
Bob
Susan,
died. Oh.
Kimberly.
Oh, Kimberly. Now this is if you have glaucoma.
Yes. Now,
We wanted to give a sense of what if you were partially blind and wanted to see foliage?
well, we didn't want to be ableist.
No. What is that?
Yes, it's
Sorry,
1993.
1993.
All right,
What
so
the
let's
hell
see.
does that mean?
Jimmy, Bob, Tim, Steve.
I feel like a lot of these leaves have similar names,
Well, hold on.
drawing from a very small well.
Ren, Stimpy.
Now, a lot of people don't know this about bridges, but bridges are made to get from one side of water to the other.
Yes.
Oh,
This
is
is-
that correct?
That's true.
this
That is
is-
a true bridge fact.
They don't put. That's interesting.
Yes.
Now that's supposed to be a sculpture of a man's face screaming.
Right. It
Oh
was-
wait, sorry. No, it's a support beam. I'm sorry. I'm incorrect.
You know, but I can only see a face.
Things-
Does that make sense?
Things can
correct.
be more than one thing.
That's true.
That can be a bridge support
you
and a
know-
man screaming.
The film students I work with, the Wachowskis, they've said the same thing.
Ah,
Interesting.
Very
You should-
clever.
You should have a chat with them.
Clever.
I'd
boys.
love to.
As you can see here, just a real miasma of things happening. Mm-hmm. Oh, and this is when you put the camera down and sort of walk away for a while.
That's right. I had to go to
You
the
had to-
bathroom.
yeah, you had to go to the
Sometimes,
bathroom,
when
yeah.
you're in
You
the,
know,
when
it's-
you're in the woods, there's nowhere to go. So
It's 1993. Is Jurassic Park out yet?
not as of
I've
this
seen the
filming.
trailer.
I saw the trailer. Yes.
I've seen the trailer.
Yes. The fly is in it.
The fly is in it. Yes.
Yes.
How did you watch the trailer?
The man from Possessed is in it.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Possession.
Okay.
What an erotic thriller.
And then I think Godzilla's in it. I'm not really sure about what the movie's about. All right,
Now,
so that's
this is when-
Jimmy.
This is now, see, this is when we lost a couple of cameramen.
That's
Yes.
right.
Because we said, get out there, shoot the cold. And they died. They died of exposure.
So
accordion bridge once again.
This took us quite a long time to film. I'd say
Yes.
roughly 7 years.
Yeah, about 7 years. We started in 80s, yes.
Yes, because we kept forgetting to film the winter.
It's
We
cold.
kept forgetting the winter.
That's
we would
right.
film it. We would get it all packaged, ready to go for the Dolphin's Eye. We'd be about to send it out.
Yes.
And then we'd go, oh, we forgot about the winter.
What do the dolphins know of winter?
Exactly.
They live in an ocean.
Every March-
AKA possibly a puddle.
Now,
That's correct.
ironically, the cameraman that was shooting this, he died not just of exposure, but overexposure, which is something that you can have happen when you're a cameraman.
That's correct. That's correct.
Another beautiful dirty window.
We love a dirty window.
And we said to him, don't put it in focus. We want it as blurry as... But again, we cannot stress this enough.
We'd
Blur.
love it. We'd love it to look mysterious, like it could be part of a prestige drama years from now.
Yes.
The song you're hearing now, of course, is from one of Peyton's wonderful medieval reenactments.
That's right.
You play a courtesan,
Yes,
I believe,
Yes.
from the 1300s.
A suitor of the royal family.
And you do a lot of reenactments about the 1300s.
Yes.
Famously when the Black Plague killed so many people.
I have excellent Bubo's makeup.
You do a lovely bubo.
Thank you.
Now,
He does a lovely bubo.
Is this a fife?
Yes.
And you sounded unsure.
I was trying
That's
to
a
remember.
bell.
Oh,
Yes.
bell. That's what I'm
100%.
thinking.
I was,
That's
I
a
was
bell.
waiting for that to
Bell.
come in, yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fife solo.
Now those bells were added
Right.
Yes.
in what they call post-production because the bell doesn't work in that church. We went in and we asked, can you ring it?
Yes.
And they said, no, we can't ring it.
That's right. And you wrote the bells into the song that you
I did.
came up with.
Yes.
And we fought the priest because we thought he was lying.
Well, the priest was also the lighthouse keeper.
Very unfortunate. Get out. But also pray. It was very strange.
Yes.
Very strange.
Not welcoming.
This was around Willoughby County.
That's correct.
Willoughby County, yes. You may recognize some of these shots from the newspaper photographs. We found 3 bodies shooting in the wintertime.
Yes.
That's correct.
Other people that had died.
Stabbed to death.
One stabbed.
One stabbed.
One we think just knew and walked out.
Yes.
You know, a very, I'm just going to go
my
walk
time.
around kind of
Yes.
thing. And then the third, complete mystery.
Yeah, that's right.
No footprints around it.
No, and no head.
No head, no footprints.
That's right.
It's a mystery that may never be solved.
Yes.
Some say it could be some kind of Bigfoot
Right.
or a Squatch,
Yeti.
but we don't know because that's simply out of the realm of our knowledge.
Yes, we halfway through this, we said, should we turn this into a murder mystery film?
Right.
But
Should we get into the paranormal?
that's correct. But so much footage with nobody in it.
Of course. And of course, this bridge, everybody knows, is haunted.
Yes,
This is the longest bridge on the lower side of the town.
that's correct.
And it is full of ghosts, is what they say. They say if you go through it at night, by the time you get to the end, you will be driven insane.
Yes.
Ah,
And I have never tried it.
Call
I
it
haven't driven
the
through.
jaunt. It must be.
And you said you went halfway through.
Halfway
Peyton,
through.
and did a hand virgin.
I saw
and then
some
you-
things. Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my!
now did you plan on losing your virginity when you walked into it?
I did not, but
You have
And
to pay.
as you
you
can
adapt.
see, they
Now, in
make
this-
people pay $2 to do it. It's
You can either pay a $2 fine or walk your horses. What do you choose to do?
That's actually punctuated. It's walk your horses or pay $2. It's fine.
it's a passive aggressive bridge.
Passive aggressive sign.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that at
No,
all.
I'll stay away.
Now, some of these bridges, because of the fogginess, because of the time of year, and knowing all of these stories about ghosts, some of them we were just simply too afraid to get near.
Yes.
Yes,
So we would often shoot as far away as possible
that's correct.
and sort of zoom in. And
This-
we said, to hell with definition. We want to just get as far away from the shot.
This is this looks like it's through the bridge. Nope.
No, this is
It's
from the
my
trunk
hands.
of a car.
My hands around the lens.
Yes.
Those are my fingers, my
That's
thumb
correct.
and fingers. This is a miniature. We contracted with George Lucas, who's not doing anything and has no plans to make further Star Wars films, and
Right.
he made us these miniatures.
Absolutely. And this is as close as I would get to this bridge.
Yes, we have a bridge phobia, all 3 of us.
Yep. This is where I like to think wistfully. And I don't know if you knew this, but that sort of vague haze that was around it, that just happens there.
Wow,
It's very strange.
it's enchanting.
As you can see, I panned over here with a fisheye lens that I borrowed from a nephew who is a skateboarder. And he gave me the fisheye lens. He
Oh,
also
that's-
kicked me in my dick. And he said, it's for a thing. And I said, fine.
Right.
My nephew, Bam.
Yes.
Fine, you jackass.
I called him a jackass, I did.
yes.
I said, why don't you just go kill yourself?
Yes,
Now get to camp, you scamp.
yes.
And he said, oh, wait a minute. Now here, this is the famous Crying Bridge.
That's right.
The bridge has been known as the Crying Bridge since 1952, and it was because some of the men. Now this is unfair because Alan Frost lives in the house just next to this, and he's put on a lot of weight, and so his wife put this sign out front. Frost heaves. And it's oh, here he comes now.
Here he comes,
He's
yes.
driving by.
He's
Really
he's driving
waves.
by to see if the sign is back up.
Right, and then he just keeps driving. And he knows I'm not
He's
staying at home
upset.
tonight.
Yeah,
And this is as close as they would allow us to get to this church.
Yes.
that's correct.
And we didn't want to look at the
We
church.
didn't even want to look at the church. We wanted to get us those tree buckets, is what we said. Now this is your territory, Peyton.
Yes.
Maple syrup or syrup? A lot of fist fights on set about the correct pronunciation.
Now this,
Interesting.
you
yeah.
told me that this man touched you inappropriately. Is that true?
You know, at the time I thought it was inappropriate, but now I'm
Now you understand he was simply trying to get syrup from you.
He was
He
drilling.
was trying to tap you.
He was tapping me for syrup, and mission accomplished.
Wow.
I gave him syrup twice a day.
Oh,
Does that cranking motion seem familiar to you?
Yep.
and the quick pull.
Yes, he would stick a little spigot in me. I don't. He told me it was a spigot.
Yes.
And next thing I knew, syrup.
Classic move, pull and then yank.
He told me you helped him lose his virginity. You know that?
His syrup virginity, I think
That's
he
what he
referred
said.
to.
He did say that.
I said, I like the way you don't know how to wear a winter hat.
Now, this man is a braggart. He's often doing this, but he was talking down the whole time. He was always like, this is how you do it. Then you put the bucket. Don't put it on pancakes yet.
I asked him his name. You know what he told me?
What?
Shit ass.
Shit ass.
Shit ass.
Good
And
Lord.
I thought that was very strange.
And it was strange. We filmed with him, and then he just walked away. He just walked.
He continually would walk away.
Now, you were high as hell when you filmed this part, right?
Yes.
That's why it's sort of, there's a blur, and you said, I want the angle from when it was inserted.
Yes.
We want the insertion shot. Some of this was filmed by a few men that did work in the pornography industry. This is one of them. Again, my nephew Bam's fisheye lens comes into full effect.
Now, Peyton, can you explain the process of how a tree produces maple syrup?
Sure, of course. What it is during the winter, chlorophyll goes into kind of a hibernation, and the energy that would normally go into making a tree grow is converted to this sugary type substance, which is why it's so sweet for humans. And that builds up in the tree, and
It's sap.
it's on us as humans to make sure that the sap is released, because if the sap isn't released, it's very hard for the trees to sleep. So you have to regularly release
The
the
trees
sap.
often get angsty,
Very
and
angsty.
angry.
And they
And-
shriek in the night. Is that
And
correct?
don't like start to drill the hole and tap the thing in and then not drain it.
No, you'll
Like,
get
if-
blue roots.
You got it. That
Blue root. That's right.
That is a blight type of situation, and blue root has killed many people. Now, we didn't even know who the hell that kid was. Just sort of showed up.
I'll say this: the kid was not there during filming. It is very possible that is
Right.
an old-fashioned New England
what's
ghost.
it's so interesting because we were all there. We were all filming this, and there was no child. And then when we watched the footage back, there was a child.
That's correct.
It was just older men, and it's very strange.
The child with the haunting grin of
The
an imp.
haunting grin,
now, we were
a
filming
grin that knows hell.
Yes.
around... that knows hell. We were filming around the area.
Oh, and there it is. The money shot has
Yes.
happened. And it was a sad one. It was a little one, like it's happened too many times that day.
We were shooting around the area where that little boy, Timmy Higginbottom, died. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
Brutally murdered by a maple syrup gatherer, but nobody knew which one. It was from one of the 5 maple families.
They found him in a bucket. They found him stuffed in a bucket.
I heard his murderer was shit ass, actually.
Possible.
Oh,
That's what shit ass told
Very
me.
interesting. Now, this is interesting. This is similar to a puddle gaze, but it's a drip look,
Yeah, that's right. A drip look. It's when you don't have time for a full puddle gaze.
and you just want to do a quick one.
Which a quick, yes, just a
do a-
quick, peaceful look, a glance.
Quick drip look. Good Lord, this is horny, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so hot right now.
I just think about our other footage of like watching paint dry or watching grass grow, but watching sap in the winter.
just slowly dripping into a pail. Delicious.
That's riveting.
All I can say is I'm very proud with the way we used our time.
Oh, absolutely. Like what? Look how slow this is moving.
Now,
this took ages
Do you remember
to
when
get
we had
just
that?
right.
We had that competition who could film the slowest sap,
The slowest drip.
the slowest drip. Remember that?
That's right. And we'd left this camera running because we wanted to get the shot of the sunlight glistening off of it. It's very, very phallic. It's the most phallic shot of this film, I would
That's
say.
correct. Now remember we left and got lunch and we came back and it was still
It was still
dangling.
dangling.
It's still dangling.
And we didn't know, is it a new drip or is it the same one?
Now, what was your favorite?
Oh,
there we
it
go.
goes.
Yes.
It's cathartic.
Yeah,
it really is.
is.
Can't believe how long that
Now
shot
that was our
lasted.
outhouse. That tree with that little bucket.
yes.
That was the
Yes.
outhouse for most of the
And
shoot.
you had to make sure which one was which, because one was a tree sap bucket and one was the outhouse.
What do you
They
mean
looked
they were
identical.
different buckets?
Oh no! Now this explains why those pancakes were terrible.
I liked them.
This syrup is a little pissy.
Mine is feces. All right, let's see.
All right.
Oh, there's Timmy.
There's.
Oh, that was the floating bucket day.
That was floating bucket day. She has a head injury and she doesn't know how to do this. And we
Yes,
kept
that's
saying,
correct.
no, it goes on the tree.
Well,
And
remember this, the maple syrup gatherer couldn't come, so we just had to grab her and say,
That's right,
give it a
yes.
shot. Do your best.
And she was confused.
Yes.
But, she's a lady. What can you do?
Yes. We thought it'd be funny.
That man, interesting story about that man. He is wanted
Yeah, that's right.
by the federal police.
Why was that again?
He didn't get into specifics. Said something about having a friend that was in Oklahoma
I see.
for a while.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Must be fun.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that happened
That was
yet.
that was 1995, the Oklahoma thing.
I think he said he wanted that his friend was talking about doing something, so he wanted to take off.
The plans were, the wheels were spinning.
Yes.
I at some point I think we're going to meet somebody who had a friend in Waco.
Oh, you've been to Waco as well.
Yes.
There was a guy, very charismatic.
Oh yeah. I wanted to stay.
Now this woman,
She's
this is
emptying the
infuriating.
outhouse.
We said don't touch the buckets, and here she is, simply taking one thing from a bucket, putting it in a different bucket.
That's correct.
And we said it's already in a bucket.
We did.
And then she just left it by the side of the
Yes.
road for anyone to take.
She said it was an offering for the puckwudgies.
Oh. And there she goes, stealing
stealing from the
stealing
puckwudgies.
our tree leek.
Get a picture of them.
Now, what was her name?
I think her name was it Chandra?
Chandra.
Sandra?
Yes, that's
Sandra.
right. And you had a tryst, is that correct?
I don't want to talk too much about that.
Okay.
My antique store wife would be very upset.
She would understand. She's been ill.
Right, and she understands I like to collect old things as well.
Again, just questionable focus. I think there was some water inside the camera at this point.
Well, we like to shoot in the rain and snow, and we like it to hit the lens.
And I had a migraine at the time.
Yes,
And I think I was responsible for the focus. It's just, I think I got what I felt like.
Yes.
Now, fun fact: this truck runs on sap, but the government wants to suppress the technology.
Exactly, true.
Because of their buddies in big
Yes.
oil.
Oh, now you can see this sap collecting man has to move quickly because the town children will come and steal it from you.
Yes, they'll suckle.
These are greedy little syrup boys.
We call them sapsucklers.
These sap sucklers, and look, they're even trying to be like, oh no, we're helping you. No, they're suckling sap. They're
that's correct.
stealing it. He's shaking his head. Don't take it now.
That's right.
He's on to us. And now here's three children. The one in red thinks he can tip the tree over,
That's right.
and now he's got his other friend into it.
We're gonna go.
There was a large disagreement of who was in charge.
Very big disagreement. And what we've learned is just if you see the sap sucklers, leave them be.
Yes, run.
And much like cattle rustling in the Old West, sap suckling, you're going to get gunned down sooner or later.
Absolutely. You live by the sap, you die by the sap, is what they say.
That's correct.
And here we see the gang. Now, people say there's no gang problems in New England. Well, here's a little bit. We're going to tell you the truth about this. This is what you would call a classic New England gang.
This was
Riding
the
ar-
this was the Sapple some dumpling gang.
The Sapple Dublin gang, yes.
Riding around in a truck with the
Refusing to let one of the children ride in the truck with them.
Yes.
Simply having to jog alongside it.
like the tailgate is down. There's no safety or security back there.
No.
Just classic 1993 gang
England.
behavior.
That's just how it goes.
Now this is how much I'm from Maple Syrup Company. Maple sugar makers never die; they just evaporate.
Did you have a stroke?
And I know that's not
Justin?
true.
I tried to remember when I was.
I'll be
reading.
honest with you, I know that's not true.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I know plenty of maple sugar makers that have died.
Ah, yes.
And many of them have, as per their wishes, been made into syrup. They say, cremate me, and then put me in with the sap, boil it down, because that's how you make the syrup. You take the sap, and you boil it. As you can see, these men are boiling.
They're boiling the sap.
And here's a fun fact. Maple sugar makers will clean their clothes in the boiling sap.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder,
They're going to put that dog in the fire.
there's so many things in New England, and we've spent so much time on lighthouses, bridges, and sap.
those are the three things people know.
And puddle gazing.
And puddle gazing.
Well, puddle
but that's
gazing.
our own personal.
Yes, that's true.
This man is putting all of the logs from another maple sugar maker's home. This is how they would often battle it out between each
warfare.
other.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. They vie for power.
As you can see, beautiful steam
Oh, it's
coming from the sap.
Just like the show Dallas or Dynasty.
That's correct.
Wonderful shows. Wonderful shows.
Those are probably still relatively contemporary.
Of course. Now, as you can see here is a meter of sorts. It's important to measure how much steam is coming out of it because maple sugar makers can get something called sugar lump.
That's correct.
And this man is suffering from it. He can't stand up. It's
That's-
so sad.
That's why they keep a golden retriever around. And when he dies, get out.
Right, like the canary in the coal mine.
That's correct.
It's the retriever
Exactly.
in the maple sugar house.
In the Maple House.
And it's sad. This man has sugar lung. He's been told he has months to live. Mm-hmm. And as of the recording of this commentary, we are unsure if he is still with us. We like to think so.
But probably not.
But most likely not.
As you can see here, he's preparing his own coffin made out of maple candy.
That's correct.
And that is what he's doing right there. Of course, the family's gathered to help make the coffin.
I want to die as I lived, he said. I remember
Exactly.
he said that to me.
And I remember the boy saying, it's very small. Will he fit? But when they boil him, he gets very small. And as you can see now, they've boiled him, and they're putting his remains into jugs, and the jugs will go to gift shops around Vermont.
A lot of people don't know if you boil a corpse in maple syrup,
It becomes mapley.
it's very mapley. It becomes 1/7 the size of a human being.
This is true. Now, there are grades of maple syrup, and I believe this gentleman is looking to see what grade it might be, depending on how dark it is. It can go from amber, light amber, dark amber, all the way down to a darker, strong. Now, the darker it is, the stronger the maple is. Now,
Yeah.
this is actually weirdly true.
The opposite of coffee.
Correct. But with this, when you do boil a person, it's incredibly dark, yet still tastes light, and that's why it is a rare delight for the Vermont maple makers. And there is his brother David in
I
those
remember
jars.
strongly disliking this family. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yes, it
Very-
was tense. It was
Yes,
tense. Yeah,
yes.
it was tense. I think it's because they're so free about death. It's unsettling. It's unsettling. We like to kind of distance ourselves.
I didn't say it when we were filming, but they walked in on me losing my virginity.
Okay, I think this might be the problem. And that's why they kept putting the lights up, because they said no shadows, because they found you in shadow.
That's
Like
right.
a golem.
It might have been this night, in fact.
See,
Oh, the steam coming from all the heat you've generated.
they kept asking me if they want to. They kept trying to measure me for a coffin, and I said I will be living. I will continue living.
One person, they licked your arm and said, just right.
No, is that me? Is that me?
Is that you?
No. Oh,
No,
no,
no.
it's not. No.
They're checking to see if the body has completely boiled down. And when it is only bone left, they will take out the bones.
Yes.
And then they will bottle the syrup.
Now you've seen one of their bone shows that they do with the corpses before they put them in the
absolutely,
grave.
Yes.
They're
Hilarious.
beautiful.
Hilarious.
Well, they often sell some of
Haunting.
the smaller
Yes.
bones as candy because you can suckle. You
Yeah.
can suckle on the bone, and the marrow inside. Oh,
Delicious.
The
the
maple
mapley
marrow.
marrow.
Yeah.
Maple marrow bones. Oh my good lord.
My
Delicacy. Well, here we dedicated this.
wait, that's the whole. Okay.
Oh, some would say thank God.
At least two people would say thank God.
Now,
Oh, the following is gratefully acknowledged. They said to put this up quick.
We hit Maine, Vermont, Maine,
Oh,
and Maine.
there's my antique shop, Super's Junkin Company.
no, your wife Supers. How is
Sally
she doing?
Supers.
Sally Supers.
Uh-oh.
The Puffins, of course, were paid to be there
Yeah.
by the National Audubon Society and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. If you ask me, the most difficult people to work with, the Audubon.
And the Puffins.
The Puffins were, A lot of actors say they don't like working with animals, children, and especially puffins.
I'm
No,
gl-
Rich Holzer.
I'm glad that we all chose hilarious pseudonyms.
Yeah.
And I like that all of the post-production was done right here in Nova Scotia. Barbara Badessi,
Shelby Blunt.
we love you so much, Gerald B. Corser. We'll never forget
Lee
you.
Carvalho changed his name to Lee
Of course,
Leshen.
Todd Corser,
Carol Dine.
John Gibbons.
Rex Gates.
Steve Katona. Oh, what a
Ray
man.
Kulig.
Scott Mercer was a piece of shit, but we had to put it in anyway. And of
Yes.
course, our backers, all of our backers.
Thank
Kelly Parks.
you for kickstarting us in 1993.
Yes,
I
thank
don't want
you.
to talk about my relationship with Heidi Ship.
Well,
We're
what
still
about
in
Charles
court.
F. Thwaites III?
Sandy
Chucky
Zinn.
Thwaites?
Sandy Zinn was a treasure.
Ah, the Merry Day.
SV Surprise.
Oh, it was just, and
It was a fife. Apparently.
I
Maybe.
I knew it was.
and a big special thank you to Michael Gentle.
Yes.
What a man. What a music man. And of course, Zed. We'll never forget you. R.I.P. Zed.
No.
And Neil Olmstead, I got to be honest with you, didn't get along with Neil.
No, I didn't like Neil.
Well, he came in with a bad attitude. And I
Yes.
said that to Steve Schutch.
And he was
Oh,
sneezing on
it is
purpose.
a sexual position.
Yes.
They are absolutely 69ing.
Yeah, they are.
Good Lord.
Nose to
Well.
tail, tail to nose.
Well, I want to thank all of our watchers for purchasing this brand new VHS tape. We
Yes.
really appreciate that. And of course, we look forward to our next few VHS releases.
Yes.
Of course, at the end of this video, we like to do that. We couldn't get the tape done in time to show the trailer for some of these new videos. But Chip, why don't you tell them about one of the videos that's coming up that you look forward to the most?
The one I'm most excited for is The Haunting Mystery of Zimbabwe. Now, that was an expensive trip. You
It was
remember that?
expensive and also complicated.
It was well. We were able to get the cost down enough by traveling in the cargo bay of an American Airlines flight.
And you said you weren't allowed. You've been banned from Zimbabwe now.
That's correct. The way that I left Zimbabwe was with a tribe chasing after me, and me running to a seaplane while arrows were flying
Now, see,
next to
this
me.
is why I think some of the problem came, and we tried to explain this to you. That's not a tribe.
Oh.
Chip. That was just American Airlines stewards and stewardesses.
No, I believe it was a
And you called
tribe.
them a
They all
tribe.
had
You said
little
because you're in
wing
Africa,
pins.
it's a tribe.
Yes, that's right. They all had little wing pins.
Yep.
One of them was wearing a pilot's hat.
Interesting.
Yes, they've taken a lot of our.
Was he the leader?
He seemed like the leader.
Hmm.
He seemed like he was in charge.
Did they have perhaps like business cards of any kind?
They did.
What did they say?
Pilot, stewardess.
Interesting.
Yes, they gave me sacks of peanuts. That's what they were throwing at me.
Oh, now this tribe, did they try to give you food on, say, a tray?
Yes, that's correct.
Interesting.
They had very strange customs.
Very strange. And the Zimbabwe food is very strange.
Oh, it was
it's
strange.
like frozen, but then heated extremely hot.
Yes, way too much.
Very, very hot. And
Yes.
sort of looks like the thing you want, but isn't.
No.
What's the deal with Zimbabwe
What's
food?
the deal with Zimbabwe food?
That's what my question
Very
is.
interesting.
Yeah.
I am excited for all our future documentary projects. I sent some footage out to be edited to a friend, and he's
Wonderful.
supposed to mail us some packages back.
Okay.
So Ted K, if you're out there, I'm
Oh.
looking forward to receiving those packages from you.
Now, I've never met this man, Ted,
He's-
because he's a bit of a loner.
Loner,
Where
yes.
does he live? What kind of structure?
It is. Someone call it a hut. Someone call it a shack. But really, it's his editing bay.
Oh, that's fun. He lives in the
Oh, yeah.
He lives, kind of lives alone.
Man of the earth.
Man
And,
of the earth.
I've sent him a lot of postage to use on packages, not only to us but to anyone.
Oh,
to send
and
out some of the tapes.
Yes, just get the word out there.
Did he
Absolutely.
request to be paid in postage?
Yeah, he did. Now that I think about it, but I said,
And
don't worry about it.
clocks?
Any
Small alarm clocks.
any publicity is good publicity for us at the Dolphin's Eye.
Oh,
That's correct.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
just do whatever you can to get your name and therefore our name in the news, Ted.
That's correct.
So
Entirely.
Teddy K, we appreciate it.
Yeah, that's
And of course, I'm looking forward
Chet,
to
yes.
one of our, almost like a pet project films that we're doing, which is Cemeteries of America, the Children Edition. And we're just doing old cemetery gravestones of children that died in the early 1800s because there's so many. There's so many of them.
Here is I'd like to get like a pizza pan with slightly raised edges, and we'll put water in it, and we'll shoot the water
Yes.
to reflect
Puddle
the
gaze.
tombstone. Yeah, so
A
the
bit of a puddle gaze. Well, it's a man-made puddle gaze.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's very
But a
interesting.
puddle gaze nonetheless.
yes.
Absolutely, and we're going to track down some of the relatives of the children. That's why we're waiting on this one. People that it's generations ago, so they have no attachment whatsoever. And then we're going to say, and unfortunately, that 7-year-old passed away of something horrible.
Yes.
Probably some sort of chest thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on?
Tuberculosis.
Yes.
And then that person has to take that information in that some great aunt is dead now, and then just sort of be like, oh, that's bad, I guess. I think that's interesting.
I think for people who are worried that it might come off as a little bit disturbing, we want to assure the viewers every child's grave that we film lived at least until the ripe old age of 7.
Absolutely.
So don't.
Otherwise, it's sad.
Otherwise, it's a little too sad.
Yes.
I just wanted to say I enjoyed this time together. We're normally out shooting
That is
separately,
true.
so being able to be in this well-appointed soundstage with the two of you has been a delight.
It's been wonderful. It really has.
It's been great. And seeing your footage, I have some constructive criticism that we'll talk about off mic.
That's fine. That's fine. I have some extra footage of me losing my virginity to myself.
Oh my.
Great. And also my criticism mostly, I wouldn't call it constructive. It's very angry and very confrontational.
And I will say, I will still go to bat for my argument here. Longer. It's got to be longer.
Yes, more.
A tape can technically be 6 hours.
I'd say that had 25% as many lighthouses as I would have liked to have seen.
Exactly. And also more shots of trees. I want more trees.
And I think too much of
Bridges,
it
more
was in
bridges.
focus.
Too much of it was in focus. I want a 5-hour film
Yes.
of blurry buildings and every once in a while like a puffin walks by and then just randomly at the end a whole fucking family doing a work. I think that would be good.
I want just one drop of sap.
Can I give you
The
one?
entire film.
Can I give you one aspect of this that I truly loved?
Absolutely.
There was no talking at all for about 25 minutes. And then Shitass came on and he said about 4 words. Then there was no talking again for about 20 minutes. And then the ghost of that little boy said about 7 words.
Yeah, the kids kept yapping.
And then 20 minutes and we were finished. And I really liked that split of silence to talking ratio.
And I think we did the right thing by having any text of information at all be just at the very, very end and too much of it.
No, no intro.
Oh, no intro.
Explanation.
We want to roll right into it. We
No.
believe firmly. We don't want a title. We don't want any information at all. We just want to go, boom, right into a quiet shot.
Because
And
that's what
crushed
it's like to walk in the woods. That's what it's like to walk in New England.
Exactly.
That's what it's like to walk by the dolphin's eye.
Good night. Goodbye.
And good syrup.
Tasty. Tasty syrup.
Nom, nom, nom.
Put your pants back on.
He's losing my
This man
virginity.
is losing his virginity.
That's me in the corner. Losing my virginity.
That's me in the covered bridge losing my. Are we done? Yeah, we gotta stop. Yeah.